It's David here again. I just wanted to finish off our presentation that I did last week with a few more points, some things that I had in my presentation but I didn't share, and to relate to some of the questions that people have been asking me. So first what I'll do is I'll just go through the rest of the slides, and then I'll just talk about a couple of other tools that you might find useful. So productivity. When you're at home, it's a bit of a challenge to be productive. There are a lot of distractions. We talked about being at home with the kids and how to set up your own workspace and to set up your morning and your day in order to be able to get some work done. And there are some tools, some productivity tools, which help with managing that distraction. Some of us are better at just tuning into our work straight away, and others are used to being distracted in the office by our peers and colleagues. And what's nice at being at home is that you can really get your head into something without having distractions. One tool is Stay Focused, and what it does is you basically specify, it's a free tool, you specify the amount of time that you want to block out access to websites, access to social media, those kind of things that you might kind of naturally migrate to when you have a thought about doing something else that you need to get done in the day, or even just to take a break and surf around the internet. It's a good tool. Binaural beats are different frequency sounds, and some certain frequencies of sounds can encourage the brain to work in a certain way. This is a tool that companies like Brain FM have used to create tools that help us focus our attention. And Brain FM has kind of a free trial, and then it's a paid service, and there are other tools like them. I use this quite often, and the binaural beats is a kind of a background sound that usually has other music overlaid with it. You can go to YouTube and type in binaural beats, and you'll see YouTube videos of all sorts of different types of music that include this for productivity. Some people just like they like music. Other people don't find that music's a bit distracting. You might get into the vibe of the song, and so they need something different. And Brain FM has a variety of different music styles that suit different characters, people who have different interests. Another thing to consider is batching, and that is about how you organize your workflow during the week. Some people, particularly freelancers, like to set aside, that they're doing a Monday for this particular activity. Tuesday might be for contacting clients. Wednesday might be for a certain type of project work. Thursdays might be for marketing and gaining new work, and Fridays might be for finishing off a weekly project or getting some delivery out the door to meet some milestones. One other thing with batching is how you manage your calendar. This is a snapshot of one of my weeks recently. There are a lot of people's names in there from the Launchpad, and it's pretty it's just a pretty random setup, and I've found that at times it's distracting for me. So I catch myself every now and again. I have to sit down and organize my day in a different way. This is a different calendar, and it sets out clear blocks of work time and establishes points of, like, a Wednesday is my calls day, project work on the morning of Thursday, and community outreach on Thursday afternoon, and allowing time for different activities. And it takes some time to build a habit to get into these type of routines, particularly when you have things around you that are changing quite a lot, but it helps to set some boundaries, particularly with clients and customers, and so you and with others that want to talk with you, and so you drive your own productivity in the day. I find morning sessions are best for that for me. Tools and automation, there are a massive number of tools across the internet that can help you do a lot of activities without having to double handle things, and this is one of the basic reasons why software exists. It's there to make our lives easier. And some of these things don't appear to naturally fit together. Software companies try to provide an API, which is like a connection key that allows you to connect their software to other software, to be able to transfer data and information. And so they have their own preferred suite of integrations, we call them, and sometimes they don't fit. So there's this nice tool called Zapier, which you can use, which is a way of connecting things that aren't naturally connected together. It's a kind of an intuitive tool. It takes a little bit of training to get used to, but I use it to, as an example, take data that's from maybe a survey form that gets output into a spreadsheet, and then you might be able to grab the email address from the form and automatically put that into an email service provider like MailChimp or Aweber or ActiveCampaign to be able to broadcast an email sequence straight away. So you can also use email to set up automated sequences of messages, so you don't have to manually address each transaction as they come. Task management. We all have various tasks to do. There's a certain amount of work to get done in a certain way, and project managers usually are the kind of people that organize these activities at work. And there are all sorts of different useful software tools online that help us get organized. Basecamp is one of them. I like this because these guys who run this business have a very good working philosophy with customers. They have a free option to try out their software for a prolonged period of time, and it's a way of connecting your teams and managing tasks and setting up your daily activities, and to be able to track them, to track your progress. Another tool that's more of a visual one is Trello. And this is a screenshot of a Trello board which shows activities for somebody who's actually writing code or creating some software or an app. And so on the left-hand side you can see there's a backlog. So these are activities that are to be done, things that have some particular query, they need some answers, they have bugs to deal with all of the time in software. Activities that are in progress, so there's only ever one activity per person that's in progress, and that's what they're working on. And then they obviously get checked, they move along and get checked, and then when they're completed, they're in the done column. Trello is a very intuitive tool to use. I use it all of the time for managing a variety of my projects. It's a team-based thing as well. So you can set up your teams, you can allocate people to various tasks. It's a very nice way of managing any activity that's got a number of tasks and that you need to track. Many different ways. They've got templates that you can download and just start to use. A highly effective and efficient tool. Adapting your team. If you're the kind of person who runs a team in this online environment, it's really a different way of working. People are starting to learn how to get used to this. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that companies are really orienting their communication towards helping individuals work from home. We've talked about the challenges of working from home. from the point of a leader, normally what you're looking for is for your team to be productive, to get the work done. And the problem with them working at home is that you have less control, perceived control over this. I talked about changing the way that you work, instead of being an hourly based system, to work based on tasks and delivering certain chunks of work. And it's useful to chunk down work so people have discrete elements of work to do. And in this environment, it means to be able to communicate more clearly with your team. You need to be able to be in touch with them, and they need to be in touch with each other and with you. And it can be a frustrating experience when people aren't available and you can't get in touch with them. And some people will choose to have it that way. So maybe it's better to have longer working hours and to have more flexibility with the team and allow them to organise their own day. You can have a daily quick meeting in the morning to get a bit of a pulse on what everybody's doing, or you can maybe run that on a weekly kind of setup. Talking to one of the people that I interviewed, she runs a team of 40 people remotely. She has 30 in the US and 10 in the UK. And what she acknowledges is that people need to be social. It's not only about being productive. And so they have a regular work social, but it's online, and it's have a general chat and a coffee, and not about work, about life, about what's going on. And in these times, that's really important. You need to be reaching out to everybody and finding out, like, how are they getting on, what's happening in their world. And one of these things about remote working is that people need to change their behaviour, and it's useful as a leader to appreciate that some people will be more productive and some just won't. And as much as you try, it's hard to push rocks up hills. Sometimes it's just the case that in the remote working environment, it just doesn't suit some people. And this person that I interviewed, I mentioned just before, when she was making this transition with her team, some people just put their hand up and said, this isn't for me, and they had to leave their work and go and find something else to do. But the evolution of her team has become it's become a lot stronger team, and they connect once or twice a year. They fly the whole team into one location, and they have a week together as a kind of a team bonding thing, but also to do work and to recognise that social element of being together. That's really important. So any opportunity to do that, that's really something that's important. And she even went so far to, they have purchased property near their office, where their old office is, just as a meeting space, just as a place that from time to time people can choose to go into, to be in the real world, to be able to socialise and to do some work from the office. And people need that kind of break sometimes. I do that myself by basically taking my laptop to a cafe or a co-working space, places where I socialise with other people and do a little bit of work as well. It's not only about getting work done all of the time. There are personality profiling tests that you can do, which help show you whether people are individuals who are self-motivated, or they are people who are collaborative and they need a bit more care and attention. And that's a useful thing as a leader to understand about your team. Here goes an example that I found on Facebook the other day about the reality of what's happening for people. Here goes a person living in Japan. She's a software engineer, and everything's shifted very quickly, and some people are feeling lonely, that they feel disconnected and isolated. And this is why it's really important as an individual and as a leader of a team to connect with your colleagues. this point here is really important. Our HR people are trying to get people to join remote lunches, but it's not working. It's not working. It's not working maybe because they're trying to fit some topic like, let's talk about what's not working when you go remote. Really this is about intention. HR people love to get people to do brown paper bag lunches and work at the same time, or do a training exercise at the same time. And so the association for people is like that. It's like, you want me to work during my lunch hour. And it's not going to work for everybody. So it's a case of considering, asking, what do people really want to discuss, and to allow them to be the people that define the way the conversation goes. It's not only about leaders leading and teams being teams. It's about also allowing people to be empowered at all levels. And in fact, the best ideas come from the bottom up rather than the top down. So this person was simply seeking for some advice, and I'm sure that she got a lot of great tips by posting in Facebook groups. And this is a nice place to communicate what you need to know and to be able to crowdsource some effective answers. This book, Remote, is written by the guys who founded Basecamp. It's a very nice book that rounds up their philosophy on working remotely. I've put that in the resources section. We covered the Q&A piece before. So I'll just quit out of the presentation. There's one last thing that I wanted to share with you. It's really helpful to be able to communicate ideas to people by being able to screen share, and that means to be able to record what's on your screen, and that's what I've just been doing. I've been using this tool here, QuickTime, which comes with Apple products. I'm using a MacBook. And there's this other free tool called Loom. The thing about QuickTime is that it's high quality recording, and it uses up a lot of space on your computer. But you can use Loom, and in fact all of the recordings go into the cloud. I think they use Google's services to do that. And what's neat is it's really intuitive, it's easy to do. Here go a bunch of different videos that I've recorded and shared with people. I can just literally, this was just a test thing that I was doing before. I can click on here, grab a link, and I can basically copy the link here and share that with anybody, and they can have a look at the video. So it's a very nice tool, and you can just plug it into the Chrome browser. These are some of the tools I use here in Chrome. So there you go, that's a little extra piece to our presentation on remote working. Again, if you've got any questions, just reach out to me and ask anything. I'm more than happy to help. And I do hope that you enjoyed learning from me a little bit about remote working. If you want to do an informational interview, or that your team needs some assistance, just reach out, and we can go from there. Thanks a lot, and I've really enjoyed doing this Shift project. Appreciate that. Thank you.